It's been a pretty long time since we've talked about H3 or the old Frenemies days or even Trisha Paytas. It's been over 3 years since Frenemies ended, and I can remember thinking that they'd probably go on a few weeks break and then they'd be right back to it, but that definitely didn't happen. It's now been 3 years since Trisha and Moses have had any kind of relationship with Ethan and Hila, and we're finally getting to hear what's been going on behind the scenes. Ethan decided to call Moses out last week, and he didn't stop there. He's now addressing why Frenemies will never make a comeback, and things got pretty heated. It's a mess, so let's get into it. Ever since Frenemies ended, the one question that's been asked over and over again is
praying for the reconciliation of you and Trisha.
Well, brother, that ain't happening. Not in this lifetime.
You don't think so? Like, ever?
There's stuff.
Let bygones be bygones and do it for the people.
As time has passed and both Ethan and Trisha have moved on with their lives, some fans have still held out hope for a possible reunion one day. Ethan has spoken very highly of Trisha here and there. He's congratulated her on her success with Just Trish, and he's made it pretty clear that there's no bad blood between him and Trisha, at least on his part. Trisha, on the other hand, she hasn't spoken about Ethan or Hila in a very long time. She doesn't bring them up, she doesn't acknowledge anything being said about them, nothing. Over time, it's become very clear that the reason they weren't reuniting wasn't because of Trisha, it was because of Moses. A few weeks ago, Howie Mandel went on H3, and he brought up the fact that Hila fell out with her brother Moses and how they no longer talk.
And then I saw Tana trying to get you to do Frenemies again.
Yeah.
And then that's why and maybe you don't want me to bring it up,
You
and you
can
could tell
talk
me to
about it.
stop it.
That's why you asked us.
That's why I asked. I said not only hopefully there's a Frenemies reboot, but I'm very concerned that you don't talk to your brother. That's very important to me.
And shockingly, in this episode, Hila actually said that she would consider the idea of trying to mend her relationship with her sister-in-law Trisha and her brother Moses.
Maybe I'm open to thinking about something to do about
I
this
hope you are.
situation.
And I'm not saying it because I
Brokered
want to
by
bring
Howie?
up something that's
Yes.
controversial.
I'm open
It just-
to a situation where it's guided by you.
From day one, I'll do it. From day one,
We're
when
both involved in it, Ethan. We need
But
an
you were.
outsider.
When I first met you, I met you in
Howie doesn't know all the
Malibu.
details, though.
I started talking
Well,
about
he'll
it,
have to
and people
educate
got mad
himself.
at me. Your audience got mad at me because I said to Ethan, "You don't talk to your sister-in-law, and you don't talk to your family." And if there's one thing, and maybe it's you're talking to somebody that is this close to not being here anymore, you know, you realize that life is short. Well,
And this was a pretty big deal, and a lot of people thought maybe something good would actually come out of it, but of course not. Only a few weeks later, Ethan went off on Moses and called him out for apparently dragging his mom into all their drama, pretty much trying to get her to take sides when she knows nothing about anything.
Moses, if you're watching this, and I know you are, listen to me very clearly, you loser. You're a grown man that cries and bitch and pisses to his mom every time I mention your name. Stop. I don't care. I will never stop talking about you. You can bitch and cry and spit and moan every time to your mommy, because you anytime, and it's not even when I'm like mean. It's like anytime I talk about him at all. And it's like, guess what, bitch? This is who I am, and I will never stop. I will talk about you whenever I want, okay? So cry more, you loser. I will never stop. And guess what? I just don't care anymore. And we're on the same page. We're on the same page, me and Hila. Send that to...
And this was a massive deal because for the longest time, Hila was always so against Ethan ever saying anything about Trisha or Moses. She would always try and shut it down, and you could tell Ethan was always holding back on the things that he wanted to say. But during this episode, everything came out.
Just imagine being a 50-year-old man with kids, and you go to a tiny little drama TikTok that's like obsessed with me specifically, like a hate channel, and sending that link to your mother. That's really is a shame when your brother-in-law is a giant bitch.
And a loser, I think.
And a loser.
Right?
Yeah, a loser.
Okay.
I'll say that. They asked me to pretend like we didn't have like the biggest podcast in the world together like a few years ago. Like it's a huge deal. And they want me to just pretend like I don't know either of them. Like, no, I don't care. Why? I don't owe you shit.
And after these clips started to make their rounds online, a lot of people started cluing in to the fact that Moses is clearly the issue here, and he's most likely the main reason a reunion hasn't happened. One person wrote, "There's clearly a dark side of Moses that we never get to see. Enough for his own sister to stop talking to him. It makes me sad though." And someone else wrote, "Moses was always sus. Even during Frenemies, there were moments where Trisha was like, 'Moses told me you guys weren't close,' and Ethan at the time was like, 'What?' He's always been trying to sabotage." Well, it's about a week later, and Ethan still isn't done dragging Moses. Yesterday, he posted an episode titled "Why Frenemies is Never Coming Back," and he gave us a little bit more insight into what made him go on that rant in the first place. Ethan said when the Howie episode came out, there was this part where he made like a bit of a tongue-in-cheek comment, and in full context, it was fine, but Moses apparently cut that part out and sent it to the mom edited and made it look like Ethan was being like unreasonably nasty towards him completely unprovoked.
Here's the TikTok that Moses sent his mom. People go, "Oh, he has a right to confide in his mom." Is that what
Yeah,
he's
this
doing?
is not confiding. This is manipulating.
This is the clip he sends her.
That is family.
What
You
if your
don't.
family member is just a giant asshole?
You could say that, but I love this giant that happens to be my brother.
Howie,
Wow. This is what he heard.
Clearly, major context was missing because Hila had just got done saying how she was open up to reconnecting and sorting out their issues, but that was apparently never sent to the mom. Now, Ethan did recognize that he does talk about Trisha and Moses, but he said he only talks about them when they're being brought up. He said that he's doing a live show, so it's not as easy as being able to go back and cut the segment out. If he's asked about it while they're on live, he's kind of being put on the spot, and we've seen that happen so many times, especially when he's around Tana.
Praying for the reconciliation of you and Trisha.
well, brother, that ain't happening. Not in this lifetime.
You don't think so, like ever?
There's
Let
stuff.
bygones be bygones
Let's-
and do it for the people.
There is stuff that. There's stuff that even not even between me and Trisha that goes too deep.
Hila ended up saying that there's no chances of them fixing their issues now, and you could tell she was so fed up.
It was like as clear as daylight.
And you know what? This was an interesting thing
I
too.
said it.
Go ahead.
I put in the opening for it, and he chose to focus on the asshole.
Yeah.
He chose to focus on that and send that to my mom, and to me that says everything I needed to know.
And the
That's
reason that I'm talking about it publicly like this is because he does all this to try to control me, and I want to talk directly to him and say, "You will never decide what I can and cannot do.
No,
You
that's
have no
it.
power over me, and I don't owe anybody anything." You know what I'm saying?
Same for me. I've been avoiding talking about it, trying to keep
So
it
stop, bro.
as you know, whatever it is. I don't even know what the word, but I've been trying, and I'm just done.
They also mentioned the fact that Trisha has brought up Ethan and his crew unprovoked as well. A few weeks ago, she commented on the poker tournament that he was in, and she had some pretty nasty things to say.
So anyway, this just came up all of a sudden. I was like, "Oh well, here, look at this. They were talking about us, and like I don't care. I didn't even notice. I don't care."
I sent you something like a screenshot, and you're like, "Oh my god, this is like the Avengers from Hell," and you're like, "Predators assemble."
So this is after our first poker event.
Oh, here, let me show the very beginning.
We're even gonna mention it or not, but I loved your I like shared it with Moses, the text he sent me where I sent you something like a screenshot, and you're like, "Oh my god, this is like the Avengers from Hell," and you're like, "Predators assemble."
I'm like, you cannot get a more dubious group of people. I was like, this is a
Bitch,
lot.
shut up. You don't even
Yeah,
know me.
laugh harder, Moses.
Which eventually led into Ethan bringing up old text messages that Trisha leaked when Frenemies was ending. The other day, someone had posted these messages to the H3 subreddit because they wanted to remind people who are always begging for a Frenemies return why that wouldn't be a good idea.
Let's take a walk through memory lane
Oh.
of a conversation I had with Trisha, a private conversation that she posted. Regarding tomorrow, let's take the time off. The crew's kind of upset about how things played out, and I don't blame them. You trashed them kind of badly. They work really hard on the show. I believe this is off the tail of when Sam put together what was it, like a...
Man, how long ago is
Advice
this been now?
segment.
Yeah, it was like a question segment, and she's like, "This is f***ing terrible. Like, whoever put this, I don't remember if she was specific, like whoever put this together was an idiot, but she trashed it. And Sam felt terrible. And it was like her first week of work too.
So I think it's pretty safe to say a Frenemies reunion will probably never be happening, and I think it's for the best. Anyways, guys, let me know what you think about everything down below. Do you think Ethan was in the right for calling out Moses and bringing things to light again? Or do you think Moses has every right to go to his mom and complain about whatever he wants?